Brr. Brr. Unique New York. Unique New York. Almost fucked it up immediately.
You know what the vowels are? A, E, O, I don't know what they are. This is a bad start. Hey, everybody, it's God. I almost said Wednesday still, and...
You scared me.
Sorry. Alarming.
Yeah, like the start, stop. I was like, what do we do?
Alarming. Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday, January the 13th, 2021. Fuck. Didn't get it this week.
Every day is Tuesday.
Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday, January the 13th, 2021, and this is the Fourth and Wrong Podcast. I'm your host, RJ, and joining me, as always, is Keith. Say hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith.
Yeah. Look who I don't have to, force enthusiasm into this week. He's so just, Are you still at a tipping point like you were several days ago?
Yeah.
And now that you get to finally uncork and talk about it,
I finally get to.
And I'm just gonna keep
rip.
making sure that I talk over you so that you don't actually get to say anything. I mean, I will enforce my filibuster ability upon this podcast and my ability to just edit you out. No, all right, we're not gonna do that. I cede my time.
I heard enough of that today.
Yeah. Topical.
Yeah. Richmond out. So there's football this weekend.
Yeah, there was 6 games. Not a lot of games, but there were 6.
Not a lot of games. Super wild card weekend.
Super wild card weekend.
And it was bookended by our two teams.
It was, and we're gonna do the weekend in reverse.
So we're gonna do it backwards. Bills played Saturday afternoon.
1 p.m.
1 p.m. Browns played Sunday night around 8 or 8:15 or whatever.
8:15, something like that.
Yep. And guess what both these teams did?
What'd they do, Keith? Tell them.
They won a playoff game.
At the same time?
In the same year.
What?
I
bet that's never happened before.
I bet you. I am almost willing to bet an entire month's salary that there's never been a time in the NFL where the Browns and the Bills have won a playoff game in the same year.
Ever.
I am that confident in my knowledge of the NFL. Also, I already know the answer to this. The Browns and the Bills have never won a playoff game in the same year.
Never. Not once.
Never.
So how much did they owe, us a thank you for bringing the podcast back? I mean, really?
I mean, that has to be what it is. It's the only thing different.
It doesn't make... I mean...
It's not like Cleveland's had sweeping coaching changes over the past year.
And it's not like Bills have spent the last 3 years properly building a team around Josh Allen or anything, who's also suddenly developed.
Nope. All us.
Yeah.
All us.
Yo, us. Remember, back in the day, Tre'Davious White was trash.
Yep. Now... the Bills and the Browns are moving on to the divisional round. And they're basically in completely opposite different places when it comes to moving into the divisional round, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So the Browns haven't been to the playoffs since 2002. We covered that last week.
Yeah.
18 years.
I still feel like we should sort of rewind a little bit, but maybe we'll get the rewind a little bit into this.
Rewind the what?
Well, I mean, how stupid do you think the Steelers feel for resting against you guys the week prior?
Yeah, no, we'll definitely get to that. So we'll rewind a little bit. In order for the Browns to get into the playoffs, we covered it a couple of weeks ago. We covered it last week. It was a win and in against the Steelers, last game of the season. If we lost, we needed help. Well, fortunately, the Steelers could not improve their seeding in the AFC playoffs.
Unless, I think if they won and we lost, they would still get the 2.
Sure. Well, they couldn't improve their position as far as like home field advantage and bye weeks and stuff.
Right.
Until it would have only affected the divisional round and the conference championship as far as their seeding was concerned, because they were going to get home field in the first round. They could not get a bye. Yeah. So they decided to rest a few starters. In week 17, they rested Big Ben. They rested a couple of defensive starters, but some key players were still out there. Juju was out there. Chase Claypool was out there. Minkah Fitzpatrick was out there. So it wasn't all just reserve and second and third string. But it certainly was not. Certainly wasn't, the all-star roster, so to speak. And the Browns went and won, and it turned into a tough game, and they won. And that earned them a wild card spot for the first time in 18 years against the Steelers. Just flipping locations.
In Pittsburgh now.
Yeah, that game was in Cleveland. Now we got to travel to Pittsburgh for our first playoff game in 18 years.
Rewind even further. What happened the last time?
The last 2 times. Yeah, the last 2 times the Browns have been in the playoffs. They lost to the Steelers. In 2002, it was in the wild card, and the last time the Browns won a playoff game and made it to the divisional round was 26 years ago in 1994, and they lost to the Steelers in the divisional round. So, fast forward to Sunday. First time in the playoffs in 18 years. Haven't won a playoff game in 26 years. We get the Steelers again in Heinz Field. Okay, there was shit being said from the Steelers side of the ball. Mike Tomlin called us nameless gray faces, and then Juju Smith-Schuster repeated said phrase. Juju Smith-Schuster also said that the Browns is the Browns. I don't know what to tell you. It's the same team we play twice a year, every year, and we beat the pants off of them. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 17-0 with Big Ben at Heinz Field against the Steelers. First play of the game.
Against
the Big Ben against the Browns. 17-0 Big Ben with the Steelers against the Browns in Heinz Field. First play of the game. All-Pro, All-Star, Pro Bowler, Marquise Pouncey yeets that shit into the end zone right over Big Ben's head.
Well,
he doesn't
quite make it to the end zone.
Well, yeah, it makes it to about the 1 or the 2.
And then
Big Ben and James Conner run back after the ball, and then they look at it and pull a Cam Newton. You get it. No, you get it. And then Carl Joseph goes, "Don't worry, guys." Myles Garrett and Carl Joseph and the entire Cleveland Browns secondary and defensive line goes, "Don't worry, guys, we got it," and slam through them and bounce it into the end zone. And Carl Joseph comes up like this, holding the ball in triumph, as the ref signals touchdown.
And that was the first play.
14 seconds, and the Browns go up 6-0. Cody Parkey bangs it through. 7-0 Browns. But it gets better. It gets much better. We kick the ball off again. Cody Parkey has now kicked the ball 3 times in 14 seconds. We kick the ball off again. They get a decent return on the kickoff. And then Big Ben, their attitude has to be, the game's still 0-0. This is the opening kickoff. We can't let that get into our heads. It was a mistake. Marquise Pouncey doesn't make mistakes like that, but it happened. Let's rock and roll.
Not doing anything out of the shotgun for a little bit.
Yeah, maybe we'll relax a little bit. But first play of the second drive from the shotgun. Snaps good. A little bit of running play with James Conner. No big deal. They start working the short passing game. Conner gets a couple of big yards. And then Big Ben gets flushed out of the pocket. tries to dump the ball off. It gets tipped. And then it gets intercepted. And then 3 plays later, incomplete pass, short middle pass to Austin Cooper, and then a slant pattern from Jarvis Landry from the slot takes it 40 yards to the house. Browns are up 14-0.
It was real quick.
After Cody Parkey bangs it through. The Browns are up 14-0. Only, at this point in time, only 5 minutes in the entire game has elapsed. The next Pittsburgh drive, they go 3 and out. They punt the ball.
And that was really the point where I felt like stuff started to turn around, because it was like, oh, you guys got a regular stop too.
Yeah, there was a little bit of momentum going in our favor, but this is the first time we actually had to, we had to go down a length of the field.
Right.
It was kind of a bad punt. We set up like at the 35 of our 35.
And this was the part where you were starting to message me and you were like, we're going. And I was like, man, you guys still haven't even, like, that was so fast. I don't even think you've started yet.
Exactly. And this was the drive. Like you, I felt it with this drive too. This was the drive, because I told you, I was like, that was good and all, but we got set up with short field, and that first play was a gift.
Yeah.
So the first play was a gift, and the first drive we got set up with short field. So there was no pressure. Now we're at our own 35, and we got to march against arguably the Steelers' best asset, which is their defense. One of the best pass rushes in the league, solid secondary. Mika Fitzpatrick's still out there flying around like a crazy person, one of the best safeties in football. 6 plays later, we score another touchdown.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt from 11 yards out refuses to die and literally disrespects every single tackler that touched him on an 11-yard scamper to the end zone.
Yep.
Shortly coupled by a couple of Cleveland Brown linemen falling behind him to literally barrel him into the end zone.
Which is funny, because for the game in a more general sense, Kareem Hunt didn't even have that many yards. He was just like, he was just a closer.
Yeah. He was the closer in that change of pace back. Next Pittsburgh Steelers drive. 3 plays. Throws it deep, overshoots his target, picked off again.
So he's still at 2 at this point.
So we have 1 fumble from Marquise Pouncey and 2 interceptions. The Browns start play after a wonderful return on that interception by Sheldrick Redwine. Returned it for like 30-something yards. We set up shop at Pittsburgh's 15. A couple of runs by Nick Chubb sets us 7 yards out. Give it a good old Kareem Hunt again.
Yeah.
Bounces it to the outside. Makes a defender look silly. Punches it in for another touchdown. We're now up 28-0.
The most points anyone has ever scored in the first quarter.
The most
of a playoff
points
game
anybody has ever scored in the first quarter of a playoff game.
Now, the way that they kept phrasing it was most points ever scored in the first quarter of a playoff game. Are they talking about teams combined even?
They're talking about in the modern Super Bowl era, no team has scored 28 points in one quarter.
Okay.
Or 28 points in the first quarter of a playoff game.
But they are talking per team. They're not talking a combined
team.
score.
Yes,
okay.
Correct. No singular team has scored 28 points in the first quarter of a playoff game.
Most teams don't get a gift on the first play.
Right. So at this point, I'm a little excited.
Yeah. This is when the all caps started flying.
I was everything. That was the only yelling I was allowed to do because, mind you, little context, I was watching this game at work. I have a partner who's already laying in bed because at this point it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I work 24-hour shifts. We sleep at work. My partner's already in bed. We're in a tiny station. This is how I had to yell the entire time during that first 10 minutes of this game. Fucking and then grab my phone. What the fuck was that? It was a complete dismantling.
Mm-hmm.
Complete dismantling. That first play set a tone very quickly. And it wasn't even like the Browns were doing anything special. They were forcing the Steelers to make mistakes, and then they were just out toughing them. They were just playing substantially more physical football.
Yeah, it was a comment I made to you where it's just like, you guys are just beating them, it feels like, on every single like you're just winning every down.
Yeah. The defensive line was in the pocket almost every snap. Big Ben didn't get sacked this entire game, but that's because their offense is designed to get rid of the ball in like 2 seconds.
Right.
Because they have no running game. So they rely on the short passing game to supplement their running game. Short passes don't take that long to set up. So it's literally a 2-step drop, dump it to a receiver. 2-step drop, dump it to a receiver. But every play, either Okunjobi was in his face, Myles Garrett was in his face. That 97, the dude we have playing on a rotation right now because Olivier Vernon is hurt. He was in his face. It was just muscle football. So after that...
Also, you guys are making all these interceptions, missing your top 2 corners still.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. Our top 2 corners are on the COVID list. That's some context we also didn't mention at the top of this game.
Yeah.
Top 2 corners, as well as...
Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, as well. Joe Bitonio.
Yeah.
Our all-star left guard and one of the best guards in the game. And our head fucking coach, Kevin Stefanski, are all watching this game from their houses on the COVID list. And not only was it just Kevin Stefanski, it was also some position group coaches too.
Yeah.
So our special teams coach was our interim head coach for this game. I think it was like our tight ends coach or something like that was calling plays. Like the only
Van Pelt.
The only
Alex
play
Van Pelt?
caller, Alex Van Pelt. The only play caller on that team from the regular season was our defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
The head coach and the offensive, like Kevin Stefanski is the head coach and he also calls the plays, even though we have an offensive coordinator. So no offensive play caller, no head coach, no position coaches, except for a few position coaches and our defensive coordinator were the only coaches we had out there. Our coaching assistants and interns were filling in interim position coaches for this game. And we went up 28-0 in 12 minutes. One of which, I will admit, was a gift. But then there's 3 times where they gave us the ball, or we got the ball from them, and we had to score. After that last touchdown, Steelers get a sustained drive. They punt the ball away. We go 3 and out. We punt the ball away. And then Big Ben throws another pick. So now we have 3 picks on Big Ben.
In the first half.
In the first half. We didn't capitalize on it. We didn't score on that pick. But, obviously, anytime we have the ball with a 28-0 lead, that's a good thing. The Steelers, late in the first half, finally respond with a touchdown. We respond back with a touchdown, and then they end the half with a kick, with a field goal. So at halftime, this is a 35-10 game.
Well, okay, hold on. I think that it was super, super important and really the deciding factor more than anything, because we were starting to have the conversation where it was like 28-0's nice, and I was like, but they really gotta score at least one more time.
Yeah.
They probably needed like at least 10 more points, and at that point 38 would have beat 37. You ended up with 48. But also the fact that you were able to turn around and respond to a touchdown with another touchdown and just be like, no, you're not gaining any ground here, was super key.
Yeah, and that touchdown came when the Steelers scored their last touchdown of the half. There was only like 2 minutes and some change left in the half. That not only was that touchdown important for us to respond to their score, they also did it on a 2-minute drill.
Right.
So it not only showed that we can march the entire length of the field and score on you, we can do it quickly. We can do it when we want to. We're going to dictate when we score. You know, they turned around and marched right back down on us and got a field goal. No big deal. 35-10 at the half. I will take it at this point because I'm losing my fucking mind. And then
things kind of slowed down.
At
least for the Browns.
Yeah, the Steelers scored a couple of times after this, but at this point in time, we saw a kind of a little bit of a defensive scheme change. We're still really being very aggressive up front with our pass rush because we got Myles Garrett and company. They're gonna try to kill everyone in front of them.
Right.
But the secondary was definitely playing off a lot more and just keeping the ball in front of them, and it was allowing the Steelers to get downfield and score touchdowns. And there was a point where I was worried because this is the Browns. And this was starting to feel exactly like 2002.
Mm-hmm.
We had a 25-point lead, and the Steelers are offensively capable to come back and win this game. In 2002, we had a 3-score lead against the Steelers, and they scored 20-something points in the fourth quarter, it was like 18 points or something like that in the fourth quarter to come back and sneak that victory.
Mm-hmm.
They have an entire half to make up 25 points. It is definitely possible.
You are talking about completely different teams, but, you know.
Oh, sure, but I wasn't thinking about it. You got to understand the emotional state of mind I was in.
Sure. At this point, you're just having flashbacks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, oh, fuck, we've been here before. Dude, it's 35-23.
I'll tell you about Phillip Rivers throwing a Hail Mary, but we'll get to that.
It's only a 12-point game. Bleh. And then the Browns scored another touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 42-23. Now it's a 19-point game. Ooh, 3 scores again. Ooh. And then the Steelers score another touchdown. It's like, fuck. But then they go for 2, and they don't convert. So, will that be important later? Turns out no, but it made me feel good at the time. And then we kick a field goal just to give us a little bit of breathing room. Okay?
Cody Parkey kicks this game.
Yeah. Sustained drive, 13 plays, 6.5 minutes. Kick a field goal to keep it a multi-score game and chew a significant amount of time off the clock. Makes me feel a little bit better. And then Big Ben, in his infinite wisdom, decides that Sione Takitaki plays for the Steelers now.
Yeah.
Completely misreads our linebackers. And Sione Takitaki is literally standing in the middle of the passing lane.
Still, did not move,
He didn't even move. He literally shuffled into his zone and stood there.
Yeah.
And Big Ben rifles it right into his hands. Now, he had to get up there and make a play on it.
Yeah.
But it was right over his head. Right in the passing lane. And Sione Takitaki goes, kid. We're winning a playoff game.
Yeah.
And then he gets a baller return. And then after that return, we kind of get shut down by the defense a little bit. But at that time, we're just trying to chew clock, man. We're up 45-29, and there's not a lot of game left. There's like 2.5 minutes left or something like that at this point.
Mm.
So we kick a field goal. And that puts it out to a 19-point game again. And then the Steelers get another garbage time touchdown. Finally convert on a 2-point conversion. And then go for the onside kick. It's the only chance they got. There's a couple of minutes left. Or there's like a minute and some change left, but they're out of timeouts, so they got to move quick, get the onside kick.
Mm-hmm.
We recovered the onside kick. And for the first time in 26 years, the Cleveland Browns set up a victory formation to win in the wild card round of the fucking playoffs. We're going to the divisional round. We're going to play the fucking Chiefs. We're going to whip their ass too because we have a recipe now. And that recipe is just be meaner. And guess what? They make it so easy when they keep talking fucking shit. Because literally, Chase Claypool, after this game, was like, they gonna get slapped by the Chiefs. It's like, bro, you already lost. Sit the fuck down, young blood. You got nothing to say to me anymore.
Well, and then there was Sammy Watkins.
Oh, we're getting to that. Chase, you had your chance to talk shit when we were on the field. And that 37 points, like Colin Cowherd said, that 37 points and 500 yards from Big Ben, that was empty calories. You had 5 turnovers. Your running game was non-existent. Every single point that you scored, every single yard that you gained doesn't mean shit because you lost. So sit at home, enjoy your vacation, figure out what you're going to do in the coaching room. You and Juju need to figure out whether or not you want to be influencers or football players. Because all that shit talking got you nowhere. The Browns smacked you in the PP. And now we got to go smack the Chiefs in the PP. And Sammy Watkins wants to talk some shit too. Keep giving us stuff to put on the fucking bulletin board. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm hyped now. Like, it's... Now, let's agree that the Steelers, let's be honest with each other. They were 1-4 coming down the home stretch of the season.
Oh, I mean, I would have loved to have taken the Steelers. Problem is we were never going to get them first. I was hoping they would have done this, next week.
Yeah. What, the Steelers? If they won?
Yeah, no offense to like, I wanted the Browns to win, but if they didn't win, it works out great for me.
Because you would have got the Steelers.
Yeah, because we would have gotten the
Baltimore
Steelers.
Went to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because, dude, if this is how we played against them, the Bills would have fucking massacred them.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some individual performances. Nick Chubb had a relatively productive day. Not big numbers, but he didn't really have to because they kept giving us short field.
Yep.
Kareem Hunt, like we already said, not a lot of carries, but efficient when he did have the ball, and he was a closer in the red zone for us.
I mean, I think efficient is generally just the term for this game.
Yep. Baker Mayfield probably had one of, if not the best performance of his season. Moderate numbers when it comes to the actual yardage gain, but once again, short field. But 21 for 34, over 60%, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks, a QBR of 92, and a passer rating over 100. The Steelers were not able to sack us. They were not able to generate a single QB pressure this entire game with only 2 starting linemen on the field.
That's pretty impressive.
And we have one of the best lines in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So us losing offensive line pieces is kind of a big deal for us. The tackle is either a tackle or a guard, I can't remember, but one of the offensive linemen that finished the game, Baker Mayfield had just met in the locker room that day.
Right.
Because we signed him off the Jets practice squad a week ago.
Well, he cleared COVID pretty quick then, huh?
Well, he was already under COVID protocol because he was on the Jets practice squad. You can't sign somebody from free agency and they play immediately. But he was on a team, so he was already under a team's COVID restrictions.
Gotcha.
So he could play. And guess what? One of our backup linemen got hurt. So this practice squad never started a single football game in his life, who just met our quarterback that day in the locker room. Fortunately, has some experience with Bill Callahan, our offensive line coach from another team, but never played a single snap in the NFL. His first snap in the NFL is trying to keep a lead in a playoff game against the Steelers, and still no sacks, still no pressures, still no QB hurries. Baker Mayfield had eons to throw the ball back there, and he was on time. Jarvis Landry had a Jarvis Landry performance, almost broke 100 yards, got himself a dub or a touchdown. Nick Chubb closed out the game with a beautiful 40-yard touchdown off of a screen, where he just, made people miss in the open field and then kicked it into second gear and ran down the sideline. Nobody was going to catch him.
Yeah.
And that pretty much capstoned the game for him. And then Austin Hooper being a nice relief valve for Baker, being a safety valve for Baker. Rashad Higgins and Donovan Peoples-Jones a little quiet, but like I said, the offense didn't have to do a lot because the Steelers kept giving us short field. The few times we did have to drive the length of the field, we were able to do it with the normal amount of efficiency we've seen throughout the rest of the regular season. Nick Chubb was gashing for 5 to 10 yards per carry, and we were able to utilize our wide receiver talent to pick apart a zone scheme that normally plays much better. But like we said earlier, Pittsburgh, they're 1-4 of the last 5 games of the regular season. It's not the Steelers that started. The Steelers started this entire season sus, and a lot of people called them out on it, yourself included. And how many times did we talk about how when they played the Bills, that'd be the first real game they played all season?
Turns out they didn't even make it that far.
Nope. So, yeah, it's a lot of emotion. There was a lot of emotion on Sunday and Monday. Like, I woke up Monday, I couldn't believe it. I genuinely could not believe it.
How'd you wake up feeling on Monday?
I woke up feeling dangerous.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that, and that's actually kind of a perfect segue into the Chiefs, because we got to play the Chiefs. If there's any year to get the Chiefs in the divisional round, this is the year for it. Because like we've talked about, the Chiefs look human.
At least the second half of the season, or like closing out the season.
Yeah, closing out the season.
Beatable.
They haven't won a game by double digits since week 8.
A lot of one-score games.
Yep. They have one game this year where they scored more than 40 points. We have 5. They have one game this year where they rushed for more than 100 yards. We have 7 with one rusher. Or 200 yards, sorry.
And they're down Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yep. They only have 2 games where they have multiple receivers with they have 2 games. They only have 2 games this season where 3 receivers or more have a scoring touchdown. We have 7.
Wow. But when Tyreek Hill can put up 3 by himself.
Sure.
And Travis Kelce gets like the other 2.
Sure. And we get Denzel Ward back, who's the only corner in the league that has allowed less than 40% completion when on solo man coverage.
I mean, realistically, I think what you really need is you need the Kareem Hunt revenge game.
Yeah. So and that's also alludes to what I think the formula has to be in order for us to win in the divisional round against the Chiefs, who are arguably still the best team between them and the Bills. They are the 2 best teams in the AFC for different reasons, but the 2 best teams in the AFC. We have to maintain that aggression and physicality from the Steelers game and really dominate both fronts of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to not necessarily take away, but limit the impact of those big plays, because that's the trend that we've noticed this year with the Chiefs offense. When it comes to sustaining a drive and getting down the field, they are awful.
Mm-hmm.
They score their points off of home runs. They are the New York Yankees. They are the 2018 New York Yankees of the NFL right now. The 2018 New York Yankees broke like 16 million home run records, and then they got their asses kicked in the postseason because they could not sustain just contact baseball.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs cannot sustain drives. If we limit the home runs and dominate in the trenches, we got a shot, dude. I think this game, if this game was played 10 times, we got it at least 3.
I think that's...
Mm-hmm. But
I think the over-under is definitely a 2.5 on that.
Yeah, but the problem is we got to play perfect in order for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said about the Titans game, and what I'm going to say again about this game, if we get this brand of the Cleveland Browns against the Chiefs, there's no reason in the world you can tell me that there's nothing you could tell me that would ever make me feel like we could never win this matchup.
Oh no, I think you are definitely in a position to win the matchup. I still think you're going to get bullied.
I don't think the Chiefs are as good as you think they are. I just don't. Like, they are literally statistically the worst Chiefs team in the past 4 years.
Okay. I didn't know that, but
Yeah, it's the worst Chiefs team since Patrick Mahomes started quarterback for the Chiefs.
Well, that was only 3 years ago.
Yeah, so 3 years. It's the worst Chiefs team in the past 3 years. He drops back way too far, which means he's super easy to pressure. Because especially if he's dropping out of the shotgun, he doesn't stay in the pocket, and we have some of the best edge rushers in the league. The edge rushers are what keep pressure on Patrick Mahomes. And as long as you contain him on the outside and push him 10 yards back from the snap, now he has to throw 70 yards to make a 30-yard completion, because he's going to throw across his body and do this weird Patrick Mahomes stuff. They don't know how to sustain a drive. They have a limited to non-existent running game, especially without Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And their defense is good. Their defense is serviceable this year, but they are not the dominant force they were last year, and they are not the dominant force they were the year prior. Right. I think if there's any year to get matched up against the Chiefs as the number 1 seed in the AFC and us being the number 6, this is the year. If we're going to beat the Chiefs, this is the time to take advantage. But we have to get a perfect game out of almost everybody on our roster. But we're getting Joel Petonio back. We're getting our two best corners back. We're getting our coaching staff back.
I don't know if Kevin Johnson's your second best corner at this point. I mean, and that's coming from a guy who had Kevin Johnson as his second best corner for a year.
That's especially with how the players have been stepping up with, Denzel Ward back and forth off of injury and COVID protocol and stuff like that. You could be right. But we're getting help in the secondary. Yeah. We're getting Joel Petonio back.
You're definitely getting your first best cornerback back.
Yeah, definitely. We're getting Joel Petonio back. We're getting our coaching staff back. Kevin Stefanski's on track to come back on Thursday.
No, keep him at home. I agree with Nick Chubb. Put him in that basement.
Maybe, yeah. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
we got a playoff win with Kevin Stefanski in a basement with his phone off.
It's like it's just like the Tua Fitzpatrick situation. When you get into the postseason, you just swap in that other coach.
Yep. We'll have a closing coach and an opening coach.
Exactly.
That's it.
You got a special teams coach for a special team.
Yeah. But to describe how I feel about this win, it's almost hard to describe. Like I said, it's the first time we've won a playoff game since I've been alive. I was literally 3 when the last time they won a playoff game.
Trust me, I'm gonna get vague and sincere in about 20 minutes too. So
Yeah. It's the first time we've been in the playoffs since 2002, which was the first time I ever remember watching the Browns in the playoffs, because they had only been a team at that point. In the expansion era, Browns had only existed for about a season at that point.
I think it's funny that you're hearkening back to 2002, but you gave me shit about the Music City Miracle, which was literally the year before that, and I'm 2 years older than you, so you can go fuck yourself.
But you won't get over it.
I mean,
you said so yourself. You said so yourself.
You seem pretty impassioned when you were talking about losing to the Steelers the last 2 times, too.
You said so yourself.
No, I did.
You still treat the Music City Miracle like it just happened.
Yeah, well, it's because it's horseshit, and that was a forward pass.
It was not. Shut up. I acknowledge the fact that it's been 20-plus years. 18 years since we've been to the postseason. Not only did it feel good to get back into the playoffs, because I was hyped last week. To go out and win, especially with like the deck stacked against us as fucking heavy as it was, between all the COVID shit, not having our head coach, all that fun stuff, to go out and win is a whole other level. And then to do it against the fucking Steelers, our big brother, quote unquote, in Heinz Field. Bro.
No moral victories, though, right?
That ain't a moral victory. We smacked them right in their fucking pee-pees, dog.
You gave up all those moral victories. You got a real one in exchange.
Yep. I bought $300 worth of steak.
I was probably going to leave that in at least the outro, but yeah, go on.
I'll put it in there again.
Victory steak.
Victory steak. Just like I said last week, where I said, I would be okay with the Browns losing this Sunday and still consider this season a success.
Mm-hmm.
Beating the Steelers at home in the wild card round, that was icing on the fucking cake, dude. I was already ecstatic about this season, and now, that was my Super Bowl. I always said the first time the Browns make the playoffs since 2002 that's going to be like the Super Bowl to me, and it was, especially against the Steelers, especially beating them the way we did in Heinz Field. That was my Super Bowl. If we go out there and we beat the Chiefs, great. I'll see you in the AFC Championship.
Or you'll have to beat the rest of the AFC.
Or
North.
I'll have to beat the rest of the AFC North to make it to the Super Bowl. But there's literally the only thing that could bring me down is if the Chiefs just go out and it's 40-3. You know, it would have to be that kind of game to ruin my season at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that's all I got on the Browns.
Okay. Do you want a fun fact before we move on?
Do it.
That I'm totally not stealing from a website?
Do it.
All right.
Yeah, so I want to hear an interesting stat.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield fun fact.
Seamless. No edits at all.
None. Baker has joined Michael Vick as the only QBs
to start a dogfighting ring.
No. Drafted
Good,
first overall.
That would break my heart.
Drafted first overall to win their first career playoff start on the road. So that's a pretty obscure, elongated stat.
That's pretty obscure.
First overall pick to win on the road.
Yeah, the first overall pick, it's to have their first playoff win be on the road. Yeah, it's a little obscure, but I'll take it. That's history, baby. Justin Herbert took the touchdown title away from me. I
guess it does just say first career playoff start on the road, so you could have home games that you've lost already.
Well, that's not as impressive then. It's still kind of impressive. It's Mike Vick. That's decent company to be a part of.
Yeah. Should have just gone back with the first take when you weren't paying attention.
Yeah, right.
Just leave that in. But yeah, that's the last thing I've got on the Browns. I like these little insights that this website happens to have.
What website is that?
It's the NFL.com.
Oh, okay. Well, you could have just said that.
Yeah. So the Bills and the Colts. Let me set the table. We got 3 pizzas from Domino's. We got
you did
50. We got 50 wings from the Carolina Ale House,
who have decent wings, by the way.
Yeah, they're decent.
For anybody that's watching.
Came with a whole container of celery and carrots and 2 10-ounce containers of blue cheese because I paid extra for it.
Hell yeah!
But it would have come with 10 ounces, but I was like, I have no idea how much blue cheese I was going to use. The answer is not 10 ounces. But by the time it gets down to the bottom, you don't want to be scraping that blue cheese. You just want a fresh another blue cheese.
Right. And if you do scrape the blue cheese, you'll get it on your knuckles because it's a big container, right? So you're in there
yeah, like yay big.
Oh, okay.
Nobody knows how big my fucking hands are, and if you're listening to this, you doubly have no idea.
Can for context.
Yeah. Again, 10 ounces. There.
Yeah, fucking, like a solid chode.
You fucking figure it out. Sure. Like that.
Like a horse's cock.
But just 10 ounces worth.
But 10 ounces of horse cock.
Yeah.
About yay big. I'm
glad that we're starting this shit during my segment. I respected your fucking passionate takes on every single drive that you had.
Sir. You started with pizza and wings. Fuck off.
Yeah, well,
Impassionate takes. All right, give me the breakdown. Show me some passion.
No, I really don't have it. This was a while
because you almost lost this game.
Yeah, this game was a while ago. Well, so that's kind of the thing. Overall thoughts on it was the game was close, but we were never behind. Other than the very beginning of the game, we were never behind.
Yeah.
We went back and forth, but once we went up, 17-10 really, or after we scored our second touchdown to go into the half, I was like, I feel like we've got pretty sound control of this. Mm-hmm. But it was another slow start for Buffalo, which is one of the things that I said that they had to avoid last week.
Fortunately, it seems like Indy had a slower start.
Yeah, they still got on the board first, but
a field goal.
Our second
points that first quarter.
Our second drive, we did turn around and get a touchdown on a good long drive. And if I recall correctly, Josh had a decent deep pass to Diggs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 36 yards. on one play. So it was a good sustained drive. And yeah, our defense started showing up, which was nice. But it kind of felt like, Phillip Rivers didn't make any mistakes in this game. Indianapolis really didn't make any mistakes. Here's the stat on them that I was most surprised by. The Colts are the first team in the Super Bowl era to lose a playoff game with 450 or more total yards and 0 turnovers in that game. They put up 450 on us on the combined, and didn't turn it over once and still lost.
You guys were just able to keep just that much farther ahead.
And listen, if that's the kind of football we got to play, then
dude, that's playoff football, dude.
Yeah, that's just winning football right there.
That's a bad hard win the football.
But Josh put up decent to good numbers. It's not great that he led the team in rushing, or the fact that we've now lost Zach Moss for the rest of the postseason.
I'm gonna say his numbers are decent to good. 26 out of 35, or 26 for 35, 324 yards and 2 touchdowns is very good.
Yeah, but that's just Josh now. He's supposed to be an elite quarterback, so it's just a good game. It's not a great game. If we're gonna call Josh Allen elite, we got to raise the bar on what a great game is. He's only got 2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown.
Fair enough. Yeah, he didn't score nearly enough.
He didn't put up 5. Diggs only had 1 touchdown and 128 yards. He's the best wide receiver in the league. He should have 200 yards. Got to raise that bar.
Raise the bar.
Stephon Diggs had an outstanding game. 6 receptions on 9 targets, 128 yards, a touchdown. Definitely continued to be the number 1 wide receiver that he's proven to be all year long. Gabe Davis. Tradition. Yeah. Gabe Davis came out and had 2 of the, just by a hair toe taps I've seen all season. Good Morning Football literally said they can't do the toe drag swag segment anymore because nothing's going to get better than those 2 catches because of how fucking close to the sideline he was. Also, that's why you wear white shoes, because you can see that little bit of grass in between.
Yep.
Definitely wasn't just a shadow.
Yep. And you guys were able to withstand, a flurry from this team with probably one of the most egregious penalties I've ever seen in playoff football since the missed pass interference in the Rams-Saints game.
Which penalty was that?
I'm looking for it to make sure I don't misspeak.
Okay. Because there was the fumble at the end of the game.
Well, yeah, there was the fumble. That was definitely a fumble.
That man picked his knee up.
Yup.
And that was pretty fucking egregious.
And I can't remember where I found it, so I don't care anymore. Continue.
But yeah, like you were saying, we were able to kind of just keep far enough ahead. We got help in several situations where Rodrigo Blankenship doinked one, so the doink continues to live. That saved us 3 points. There was a questionable call at the end of the first half by the Colts, where they elected to go for it on a 4th and goal on the 3 or 4, and missed a touchdown pass by fingertips basically. But instead of taking 3, they ended up getting nothing and turning the ball over, and that's when we turned around and drove the field right before the half. So
guess what?
Had they taken 3 points there, had they made that field goal, had they not gone for 2 at one point in the game and missed it, they left 6 or 8 points on the board, or on the field.
Yeah, they left winning points on the field.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that we talked about on Monday, when we chatted briefly, when these things were a little bit fresher in our minds, was the Bills won, and I didn't ever feel like, because the breaks came over time. Like, again, we didn't get a turnover or anything, but we got that missed field goal, and I was like, okay, cool, we got a break there. And it's like, okay, you know, they went for it on 4th down and didn't make it. Okay, we caught a break there. But they came so steadily over the course of the game that I never felt like they were a major contributing factor until looking at them as a whole afterwards and saying, again, there's 8 points. There's enough for us to lose. Right. And we really didn't do anything to take points off the board ourselves. Like, we scored basically everything we were going to get against this team.
Yeah, and especially, you know...
Unless we played significantly better.
Right. And even though they weren't like the all-star defense from the beginning of the season that they started out, this was still a top 5 scoring defense. This is still a top 5. Like,
technically, that all-star defense lost their first game to the now team that's going to get Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, sure. But it's still true statistically.
Yeah.
And they had an opportunity with 2.5 minutes left in the game to straight up just win.
Yeah.
They were the last team to hold the ball, and they couldn't get it done.
Because, and that was kind of the thing was, we were talking about your flashbacks to Steelers moments earlier. Mm-hmm. There was nothing quite like seeing Phillip Rivers with the ball with 4 seconds left and him just heaving it with every with every bit of old man strength he's got left with that
and
goofy
Micah
ass
Hyde going, yeah!
Yeah, with that goofy ass throwing motion, and Micah Hyde jumping up as high as I've seen somebody, I think, ever jump, and just, like, never, at no point was he thinking, I'm going to catch this. He went with both hands, a slap at the base.
Yep.
And he knocked that shit to the ground.
He looked like an Olympic volleyball player spiking it into somebody's face.
So, on the initial throw, I was like, oh shit, not again. But upon further review, he'd have caught it at like the 2.
Yeah.
Because Phillip Rivers cannot throw a 50-yard bomb.
No.
So, yeah, we caught breaks where we needed them. Josh had a very good game. But
serviceable, I guess, to your standards.
Yeah, serviceable. You know, he got the job. We got the dub. He looked nervous, and I even, you know, when this game was on, I was messaging you. I was like, he doesn't look comfortable yet. Like, I can see, and also we kept calling these goddamn designed runs again. Like, these QB, granted, one of the QB designed runs turned into our first touchdown pass completely on accident, and definitely, no, that's definitely how they drew it up, was Josh is going to take it, tuck it under his arm, run into a lineman, get pushed back 2 yards, and then, like, one hand while he's falling and jumping backwards, flip it to Dawson Knox. Yeah. That's how we drew it up.
Yeah, he didn't even throw it. He just, like, pushed it over to him.
I was like, yeah.
And it just kind of, like, wobbled. And, you know, at that point, the defense had collapsed down on Josh Allen, so Dawson Knox is just in the corner of the end zone like, oh, shit, he's throwing it.
Yeah. But, this is not how this play is supposed to go.
Not even a little bit.
But
thanks for that one of your 2 catches, Dawson Knox.
To quote Bleacher Report, I keep winning by doing wacky shit. Yeah, the running game got absolutely nothing going. Zach Moss is now out for the rest of the postseason with an injury. Apparently, we promoted somebody who wasn't Antonio Williams off of the practice squad, which seems like a mistake. But we also signed Devontae Freeman, so we'll see how that goes in a week or so. Assuming we make it past, you know, the Ravens. Then we got to run on either you or the Chiefs.
It's going to be a fun gay.
Fun gay.
It's going to be a fun game either way.
There we go. I'm just a mushroom. I'm a fun guy.
Well, tell me about you in Baltimore. How do you feel about it?
Conflicted. I think whoever gets hotter faster is going to win this game. I know what the problems with the Bills defense is. Maybe we just put 5 on the line and call it good, and run Milano and Tremaine Edmonds, and then we put 2 corners and 2 safeties, and we fucking call it good, and we just say our 5 against your 5.
Yeah,
fuck the line.
Well, I mean, you almost kind of. I mean, yeah, a team that's been averaging 250 rushing yards over the past 6 games against a team that's allowed 163 rushing yards per game for the entire season. It's not a matchup you necessarily want to see as a Bills fan.
No. You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. And the problem with Lamar Jackson is just a good enough passer.
Yeah.
He's just good enough to where if you sell out for the run, he has some weapons, and has just good enough an arm to where he can punish it. So it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. I think containment on Lamar is going to be key. I think plugging up the middle of the field is going to be key. If we can find some fucking way to do those two things, I think the secondary stands up. You know, Josh Norman has proven that he can get shoved by Derrick Henry, but has also been like a valuable fucking asset at key times in games. And so I expect his veteran savvy to be out there on full display against Lamar, who's still only been in the league for a couple of years. I expect Tre'Davious White to go out there and lock up basically anybody. And I expect, with the amount of tight ends and stuff that they use, Tremaine, I don't fully trust in coverage really, but he's huge. So he's just got to be close. And Matt Milano used to be a safety and will cover a tight end. He doesn't give a fuck because he's that scrappy, smaller dude.
Yeah.
So as far as our secondary goes, like, I'm pretty confident. I'm really just concerned about that front fucking 4 and their ability to stop the run and get enough pressure on Lamar, to actually get to him and not just like have him scramble out of the pocket and then pick up 26 yards on a run.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's where he burns you, is when he squeaks out. Like the most effective pass rush on Lamar is one that gets there quick and makes him uncomfortable instead of looking for a lane. Because that's Lamar's first instinct. He looks at his first read, pressure's coming, finds a lane and gets out.
Yeah.
Clog the lanes and make him uncomfortable to where he has to actually go through his options.
And honestly, I'm hoping for snow because Lamar's never played in it before.
Well, and that was the other thing I was going to say. Like
even with us being more of a passing offense.
Yeah, you do have an advantage that the game's in Buffalo with fans at 8:15. It's going to be cold, and I hope there's snow. Bills always play better in snow, unless it's against the Browns.
Let's see. The 10-day forecast for Saturday says in Buffalo 1.6 inches of snow.
Hell yeah, brother.
That's
snow playoff game in Buffalo.
Let's look at Orchard Park proper. Because
6 inches. Blizzard game. Let's do it.
2.8 inches.
Hey, so close enough. We're getting there.
Calling for more snow than that.
Come on, Lake Erie. Let's fuck it up.
So, yeah, Lamar's never played in snow. Let's see how his footing does with all that. Because I think Josh will still fucking sling it through any type of weather.
Oh, yeah. He has enough arm strength. He could push that thing through a hurricane. I think another key thing for your guys is because obviously with Zach Moss's injury...
And we get Kenny Stills now.
Yeah. You can get Kenny Stills on the field if you need to, but like obviously with Zach Moss's injury and the trend away from the rushing game, I have a feeling the Bills are just all but giving up on the rushing game at this point, unless it's Josh Allen.
I hope so.
But the difference between you guys giving up on the rushing game and like a team like the Steelers who gave up on the rushing game,
I was gonna say
you guys have Stephon Diggs, you guys got Gabe Davis, you guys got Cole Beasley. You guys got Dawson Knox, who shows up occasionally.
Yeah.
Is Smoke healthy? Is he playing?
I think so. I mean, he's been catching stuff in the last couple of games.
Yeah,
I get the feeling that Kenny Stills just like fits a position where he can go in for either Beasley or John Brown and just be a guy to like give them some breaks.
Yeah. So just as much as you guys got to contend with their running game, they got to contend with arguably the second or first best receiving core in the AFC, depending on who you ask.
Oh, in the league.
Yeah, in the league. Yeah, top 3 for sure, and the position can be swapped depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
So they got problems too. And
the Ravens' second, like, I know their whole defense is good or whatever, but their secondary doesn't like scare me.
Yeah, there's nobody in that secondary that I feel like is going to take over
like
the side of the field.
Marcus Peters, maybe?
Yeah, like Marcus Peters, he's still really good, don't get me wrong. Marcus Peters still really good in the secondary, but nobody puts him on an island anymore, you know?
Right.
Like, I got my guy, you guys go play 10 on 10 over there, you know? The Ravens, they're so hard to gauge because their defense is really good, but there's nobody that stands out to, like, that's going to take over or take away one of the key pieces from Buffalo. Like, who's going to take away Cole Beasley? Who's going to take away Stephon Diggs?
Right.
Not only do you have to take them away, you got to take them both away. Mm-hmm. Because Josh Allen has proven that if Stephon Diggs isn't available, he has no fucking problem feeding Cole Beasley for 150 yards as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, it has to be a very complete team effort from Baltimore.
Yeah.
I think Baltimore is in a very similar situation against you guys as we are against the Chiefs. Baltimore has to play a complete game. If they don't, the Bills could very well, you know, put a hurting on them.
We're an offensive team, and the defense plays well at home, and it's a Saturday night game, so it's gonna be cold
with 3 inches of snow, baby.
And the fans are gonna be loud because there are fans.
Hell yeah, brother.
And hey, if you beat the Chiefs, we get another game at home.
Hooray! and playing in Buffalo for us is like literally almost no different than playing in Cleveland. So,
right.
Like, it's a little more snowy in Buffalo and a little more windy in Cleveland, but we're both used to it.
Yeah. Sorry, listeners at home.
No, you're not.
Fuck you. I can be sorry to them. I'm just not sorry to you.
Fuck them. I don't even like them. Why are you listening to this?
Trash ass podcast. Whack ass podcast.
Got some serious WAP over here.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to not your granddad's game, but your dad's game.
Rams beat the Seahawks. Man, that was actually kind of surprising.
Yeah, a little bit.
That Rams defense still really good. Kind of feel bad for him. Aaron Rodgers is either going to be limited or out, or not Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Donald is either going to be limited or out next week.
Rib cartilage.
Yeah, it's got some rib cartilage issue. So if he is playing, which it looks like he is, he's going to be pretty banged up.
Yeah.
But, man, is Aaron Donald one of the scariest motherfuckers on the field, dude.
Regularly.
Like, yeah, just normally. Russell Wilson was on his back a bajillion times. I think he got sacked 5 times is the official number. They couldn't get anything going on either side of the ball. That defense just beat them around up and down that fucking field. DK was really the only one that was getting open, but Russell was trying to feed him. You know, he caught less than half of his targets. And the Rams were able to just not make mistakes. They had John Wolford in for the first quarter because Jared Goff's recovering from hand surgery. He broke his thumb.
And then Wolford got his fucking neck adjusted.
Yeah, then he got his bell rung. He lowered his head into Jamal Adams' fucking shoulder pad and compressed his spine like that. So he got taken out. So Jared Goff, who is literally only a few days, maybe a week removed from his surgery, is now like, oh, fuck, I got to play.
Get in there, champ.
Yep. And his motto for that entire game was, don't fuck it up. You know?
This is why you got to have ambidextrous quarterbacks.
Ambidextrous. And this is why you got to have Cam Akers and a good defense.
Yeah.
So LA was able to pop out to a lead, and the Seahawks could never recover. Russell Wilson looked bad. He could never get comfortable behind that pass or with that pass rush. The offensive line has always been a weakness for Seattle. They have like one good offensive lineman this year.
I'm sorry, when did Cam Newton start dressing for the Seahawks at quarterback?
Oh, yeah, he did throw a Cam Newton.
He threw about a Cam Newton there.
He actually had more touchdowns. So a Cam Newton plus some.
Yeah.
Because Cam Newton doesn't throw touchdowns. He had 8 this year. 8 passing, 12 rushing.
Yeah.
So Russell Wilson had an ugly interception. He could never get comfortable. The offensive line was porous, to say the least. Aaron Donald basically ate everything in front of him. Aaron Donald got 2. Leonard Floyd got 2. Fucking Morgan Fox got 1 off the edge.
You know it's a bad game when John Wolford's got the best completion percentage out of everyone.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot, Cooper Kupp had, one really good catch, but there was no highlights in this game. It was just the LA Rams' defense going, you guys stay over there and lose, and we're just going to make sure that we don't lose. Hey, offense, do anything.
Do anything, please.
And you'll be fine, because the defense completely took over that game. And that's why the Browns-Rams Super Bowl is still possible.
Mm-hmm. For now.
I texted my dad that, I already told you this, but for the audience at home, I texted my dad's a Rams fan, hey, after the Rams won, after the Rams won, and the Browns won that Monday, or it was either late Sunday or early Monday. I texted my dad. I was like, hey, so that Browns-Rams Super Bowl, still technically possible. And he was like, yeah, if the only two teams the Jets beat during the regular season make the Super Bowl, that'd be peak 2020.
Yeah. Also, your dad agrees with me. Those jerseys look like trash.
Yes. Also, yes. Yeah. He said he was jealous because the Rams jerseys look like shit.
Fucking cream jerseys. Who made that call?
Yeah, I don't know. The logo's awful. The cream jersey's awful.
All right.
Fire that guy.
Moving on. You wanna Oh, didn't you say this is the one game you didn't see, Tampa Bay versus the football team?
This is the one game I did not watch.
Okay.
The only reason I'm vaguely aware of it is because Taylor Heineke, and he played in the XFL.
Right.
And was cracking seltzers in the locker room for the St. Louis Battlehawks. And then he went out and had a decent game. So I watched the highlights and read all the articles and stuff. So
he's going to be a starting quarterback somewhere next year.
Either that or a really overpaid backup.
Yeah.
But I will say, not necessarily about this game, but it kind of pertains to it, is what a turnaround the Buccaneers have had since the bye.
Yeah.
Tom Brady finally looks comfortable in that offense.
Which is unfortunate.
Which is very unfortunate. Tom Brady looks very comfortable in that offense. He's making good throws. He has great numbers since the bye. The team's kind of clicking. Antonio Brown kind of finally found his role. So, man, the Bucs are scary going into the divisional round.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to get past the Packers if they make it to the conference championship. But,
no, probably not.
But upsets have happened before.
All right, let's talk about the ground and pound game.
Yeah, probably one of the most boring games of football I watched ever.
It sounded
pretty
boring.
Yeah, until about the third quarter where things started happening again. Derrick Henry was held to 40 yards, and he looked tired. He looked like a man that carried the ball 16 million times during the regular season and was kind of tired of doing that.
Uh-huh.
He had 370 carries in the regular season.
Jesus Christ.
He looked tired. Ryan Tannehill could not do anything against that Ravens defense. Like I said earlier, the Ravens have a very good defense. Lamar Jackson, though, in turn, couldn't do anything against their defense as well, but it doesn't matter because they were able to rush for a combined 230-something yards when the Titans only got 50. This is the Ravens team that you don't want to see this coming weekend.
I really don't.
Is when Lamar is playing clean enough throwing the ball and then rushes for 100 yards or 130 yards.
Though if they only put up 20 points, I'll take that.
Yeah, you can outscore the Ravens if they only put up a 20-point effort. It looked promising in the first quarter. Defense was able to get some stops for the Titans. Titans got out to a 10-0 lead, and then the Baltimore's running game just completely took over.
Yeah.
And once it got to that point, the game kind of became pretty boring.
By Baltimore's running game, you mean a Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. J.K. Dobbins was efficient, but when Lamar Jackson is averaging almost 9 yards a carry, fuck it, just scramble. Who cares? Yeah. He also had like a 48-yard scamper to the end zone where he just made a bunch of people look very silly because he's fast.
Hey, not bad for a running back.
Not bad for a running back. We can start making those jokes again because Lamar Jackson's passing numbers this year have been not great.
Yeah. Yep. All right, and then the cleanup game, which is the game that I literally fell asleep during because I think I saw the second touchdown or whatever. Or no, it was an interception, and I was just like, okay, that's enough. I'm good.
Yeah, no, I lied. The Ravens-Titans game wasn't the most boring game of the season. This was.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to say about this game.
Drew
Brees
won.
was, yeah. Drew Brees was. He had a very Drew Brees game.
He had a very Baker Mayfield game.
Yeah. Good, because that's his most apt comparison. Baker Mayfield, that is. Short guy that can throw it 7 yards at a time. Alvin Kamara did an Alvin Kamara thing. Hey, Mitch Trubisky, still bad.
Still bad.
That defense does not deserve the offense that was stapled to it.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bears went out on national television as a 500 team and only scored 9 points.
9 points.
As a playoff team.
Hey, at least they had a positive point differential going into the playoffs.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, I know. That's the joke.
There's no joke, hard facts, dog. I own it. Yeah, Allen Robinson's still a good receiver. The Saints did enough against the fucking Bears. It's the Bears. Honestly, the game isn't what we need to be talking about here. It's the broadcast.
Oh, yeah, the Nickelodeon broadcast.
Because this game was on Nickelodeon. And
with
Cordell
a hard
Patterson,
F-bomb.
Yep, Cordell Patterson single-handedly got the NFL kicked off of Nickelodeon, probably. I still don't understand to this day why they don't put fucking football games on a delay to catch that shit.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be hard. Like, how fast are people tweeting from the stadium? Seriously. Exactly.
It's a 3-second delay or a 5-second delay, and as soon as a sound guy hears it, you hit a button.
Yeah.
And it mutes the audio for a second. Like Cordell Patterson, while standing next to a referee while he was giving his announcement of what the penalty was, Cordell Patterson, loud enough to where it was picked up by the ref's microphone, went, "What the fuck?" Yeah. On Nickelodeon.
On Nickelodeon. Technically on an NFL football field that happened to be broadcast to Nickelodeon, but...
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Like when people scored touchdowns in this game, they got slimed by virtual slime cannons. Fucking young Sheldon was out there explaining the rules. Nate Burleson was on color commentary, which I actually did like. I love Nate Burleson. And the play-by-play guy wasn't bad. Like, the broadcast itself was entertaining, but it was entertaining in spite of the shitty football that was being played.
Right.
And I don't know how much it will improve the viewer base in the younger demographic by having future NFL games on Nickelodeon, but like I was down with having like Krabby Patty and SpongeBob references in the middle of watching the Bears get completely embarrassed on national television. Let's do that some more.
Embarrassed.
Yeah, that's the title. Embarrassed. So I'm down to do that again.
Take a bunch of mushrooms beforehand.
That is, I think that's like what a bunch of people were saying is like, that's what this just proved. This was a proof of concept of what the NFL would look like if you're on hallucinogens.
Yeah.
Because there's like shit flying around and like a bunch of CG shit and like fucking like when people would like, when they do replays of like people getting hit, there's like poof clouds and stuff.
And like, and sound effects and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I saw a little bit of it.
It was very, very funny. I would be down to watch more Nickelodeon football, especially if Cordell Patterson's going to drop F-bombs in the microphone.
No more Bears games. Sorry, no more Cordell Patterson games.
But man, is Mitch Trubisky still bad?
Yep. Turns out.
The answer is yes.
Turns out don't draft quarterbacks that play in North Carolina.
Nope. That's kind of been a precedent established since North Carolina had a football team.
Oh, I meant the whole state.
Oh.
Like, how them state quarterbacks doing? Losing in the playoffs, that's right. Looking at you both, Russell Wilson and Phillip Rivers.
Well, I mean, but they're not from North Carolina. Neither is Mitch Trubisky, but I understand what you were saying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I am saying?
You feel me, dog?
I feel you, dog.
We got any other news or anything else to discuss before we wrap up the show?
Well, we know, we already know our ideal AFC prediction. What's your NFC Championship prediction? Who's going to the NFC Championship?
It's the Rams and Green Bay and Tampa Bay and New Orleans. I mean, I think it's Tom versus Aaron. I think Aaron gets the job done. I mean, they've had a whole week of rest.
Mm-hmm.
They got to play in Lambeau. I just like we were saying, you know, Tom looks comfortable in that offense now, and they're clicking.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, much like the Patriots of old, once the team gets its shit together,
it's scary.
It's scary. Again, they're still out Mike Evans, but they've got AB now. So did they lose that much? You know, Gronk is still, he's not completely dominant like he used to be, but he's still out there making Gronk plays. Like, I've watched very little of Tampa Bay, but I've kept enough of an eye on them to be like, oh, okay, yep, they're definitely sticking around. They're definitely still a threat.
Yeah.
But if anybody can beat them, it's Alvin Kamara. So I think that one's a closer game. I don't think, especially just like literally with the Rams quarterback situation and Aaron Donald's injury, I think that's enough for Aaron Rodgers to just walk away with that game.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to eat.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the Sunday game of the weekend, is the Tampa Bay New Orleans game.
Yeah.
So Green Bay and Bills in the Super Bowl?
Could be. I mean, we'll see how.
Oh, you know what would be amazing, though? Just picture it now. The narrative. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah, and we get to beat Tom, finally.
And you get to beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's the fantasy narrative.
I mean, I would definitely take that one, but I think it's going to be Rodgers.
Yeah. He's too good this year.
And,
we'll see.
And then, you know, they might beat us with their run game. And Aaron Rodgers will throw for 200 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And a touchdown. Just one, though.
Yeah, or 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's done that this season, too. Yeah. Hey, Aaron Jones, just get us close. I'll take care of the rest.
You know, and I don't know how, like, Tampa Bay's got, like, a decent defense, but, you know, I mean, Green Bay's been suspect all year, so, I mean, yeah. I'd also kind of rather have the Green Bay defense in the Super Bowl.
That's fair.
You know, especially if they've really only got, like, Devonta, or, who is Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if, like, that's kind of their only guy, then... who's the big wide receiver from Green Bay? I'm not even
Devontae Adams.
That's who I'm thinking of. If they've really only got like one wide receiver out there, then we can put 2 guys on him.
Sure.
Just put Trey on him.
There you go. I got one bit of news, and then we'll close the show.
I mean, I guess we could talk about literally all of the coach firings that's happened since the last time we recorded.
Oh, yeah, Doug Peterson got fired. I forgot I did research for that.
Yeah, Doug Peterson got fired for one.
Eagles fans are still in denial.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
By Eagles fans, I mean the one Eagles fan that I asked about how he felt about that.
Yeah.
Long story short, none of it's Carson Wentz's fault, and he's still a good quarterback.
Yeah. No.
This is me not agreeing with that take.
Yeah, no. My statements about Carson Wentz are well documented.
Yeah, we got like how many episodes this season?
This will be 27.
Yeah, half of them is me and you ripping on Carson Wentz.
Yeah. So,
that was really the big coach firing.
Though it seems like he kind of forced himself out, so, you know, big scale speculation has him going to the Jets currently.
Yeah, the Jets are looking at him and Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma.
And then, you know, the other big rumblings of potential departures is Deshaun Watson.
I didn't even have to start the GoFundMe. I want it to happen so bad.
I just don't bring him to Miami.
Like, when I first heard that Miami might flip Tua over to Houston for him, whoo!
Yeah.
Whoo!
Don't need Fitzmagic at that point.
Nope. Or New England might take a look.
Well, of course, they're New England. They're always going to take a look.
Yeah,
but they don't. But, I mean, for Deshaun Watson, like, Miami's got the draft capital to actually make that move.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think the Dolphins are going to... I think the Dolphins and maybe even the Washington Footballers would be some serious landing spots for him. The Jets are going to take Trevor Lawrence.
But does Deshaun Watson want to go to fucking D.C.?
Yeah. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
But I think that'd be a good match, especially with Ron Rivera there.
Sure.
Yeah. A Cam Newton-esque quarterback.
Yeah, a mobile, a dual threat.
Yeah, a true dual threat, not like a Cam Newton-esque dual threat. Deshaun Watson can actually throw an accurate football, not just rifle it 40, 50, 60 yards and let a receiver run under it. Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Jets are going to probably take, if they're smart, the Jets will take Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts? You mean Love?
Yeah.
Jordan Love? No, not Jordan Love. Who the fuck am I thinking of? The guy from Ohio State?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts.
You mean the Eagles?
Not Jalen Hurts. Who am I thinking of?
Yeah, we're good at this. Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. Look.
Come on, college quarterback. Come on, college football guy.
There's too many J names, okay? Justin Fields just got his ass kicked in the national championship. He's
just because there's 3 Josh Allens that are relevant enough to be tracked by Madden. Are you saying there's too many J names?
Yes.
Okay. I'm still mad as hell that like Josh Allen is still super underrated in Madden, and also that they won't fucking update rosters properly. I can't even speak at this point. I'm so furious.
Just update it yourself.
Also, it's getting hot in this room because I've not been running a fan.
Just go in there and adjust the stats yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could, but that feels like cheating. Says the guy who mods games and stuff.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? I just found an article. Which home team is most likely to lose this weekend? 6 experts. 4 of them say the Bills. Even though the Saints are playing Tom Brady in the Superdome. That seems disrespectful.
Yeah, people are still disrespectful of the Bills.
Yeah, but it is the Ravens, so that counts for something.
I think we've probably got the hardest matchup. Well, you guys have the hardest matchup. We've probably got the second hardest.
The AFC is still the playoffs.
I would still take literally any NFC team now.
I would take any NFC team, and to not have to play the Chiefs.
Yeah, give me Tom Brady right now.
Fuck, dude. Give me, like, the Rams, Tom Brady. The only one where I just you know what?
I'll give up the home field. I'll go play there.
Yeah, the only team in the NFC where it's just like, I don't want anything that they're selling is Green Bay.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Rodgers...
I want to play them on neutral ground.
Yeah, if, like, we will see Green Bay on neutral ground. I don't want anything to do with them in Lambeau.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay. Then this has been this week's edition of the Fourth and Wrong podcast for January the 13th, 2021.
2 hours.
Thanks for listening and watching. Say goodbye, Keith.
Goodbye, Keith. Love you. Bye.
We should all just move out to an area. We should just get constant security, move out to an area, and just actually make O'Boyle the sheriff.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying to have a commune forever. Nobody listens to me. I know you would.
Mm-hmm. As long as the internet's good.
Yeah, like it would just have to be a commune with great internet. And as long as Elon Musk doesn't fuck anything up, we'll have Starlink. So even if they don't have, like, fiber running out to the commune, Starlink seems to be pretty dope.
I have no idea what Starlink is. I mean, I'm guessing I can put 2 and 2 together on it, but...
Yeah, Starlink is satellite internet, but not trash.
Right.
Because instead of, like, doing, like, super, like, big satellites, like, super far into orbit, he's doing a bunch of satellites closer to orbit.
So he's just putting a bunch of trash in the sky.
Yeah! He's Elon Muskin.
He's fucking up launch windows, goddammit.
Nah, it's fine.
Uh-huh.
Internet.
I mean, it does propose, or it does, like, impose, suppose? I don't know. It poses an interesting point, which is that it would provide an option around bandwidth to a certain degree.
Yeah.
That is, outside of just hardlining.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of speeds are they actually talking?
Anywhere between 50 to 150 megabytes a second. So, like, comparable to your entry-level cable or fiber internet.
And do they have, like, pings sorted out, or
20 to 40 milliseconds is the average latency of the people that are on the beta service?
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's literally, like, that's his whole goal is, like, we need a high-speed internet access for the entire globe, not this bullshit fucking satellite internet we have now, which is literal butts, because internet is a utility in 2020.
It's light years behind.
Yeah, 2020, 2021, internet is a utility.
Yeah.
You kind of need the internet.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk is love him or hate him for his fucking political leanings and his quote-unquote philanthropism. He has an outlook for the future of technology that I appreciate, and he's willing to throw a fuck ton of money at it. So good for him.
He's still like wish Tony Stark.
No, yeah, totally. Like he is like. Yeah, just that. Like, he is, Bruce Wayne. He is Tony Stark. Like, he's the rich visionary that hires a bunch of smart people to actually do the thinking.
Right, but he's Wish.com's Tony Stark.
Sure, because he doesn't have a space combat suit. He could.
Well, also the political leaning stuff.
Yeah, he's kind of weird.
I mean, I
Quirky.
think charging $69,420 for the Cybertruck is hysterical. So I kind of look at Elon Musk the same way I look at Kanye. I'm like, talk to me about the thing you're good at, and everything else, I don't want to hear a fucking word from you.
Yeah, just keep doing the Tesla thing, keep doing the SpaceX thing, now keep doing the Starlink thing, but, like, I don't want to hear
rockets. That shit is dope. Do not tell me your thoughts about anything else.
Yeah, I don't want to hear your opinions about the COVID vaccine. Just keep sending shit into space, my guy. Like, go on the Joe Rogan podcast, get high, and talk about Sasquatch. That's the only time I want to hear anything but Starlink come out of your mouth.
Also fine. It's gonna be a long outro this week. Fucking 4 minutes of talking about Elon fucking Musk.
Yeah, well.
It's going to be a real short intro because it's just going to be me saying, hey, we're going to talk about Elon Musk for 4 minutes.
And then don't. And then we don't. Oh, so I got celebratory steak for me and Jenny tonight for the playoff win that I'm going to be celebrating on Sunday. Not just any Wagyu. Not Walmart Wagyu, baby.
Mm-hmm. You go to your butcher?
A5. Japanese.
How much does that run you a pound?
$130 a pound.
Holy shit.
first playoff win since in 26 years. Deserves $300 worth of steak, baby.
Ooh, and you got pound steaks?
Well, yeah. I'm gonna cut them. I'm gonna cut them in half and freeze the other two. Gotta do my Anchorman warm ups. That shit's flat too.
Yeah. I could tell because the sound stopped coming through.
Oh, you'll hear it on the recording.
Yeah, I always do. I always do. Oh. Well, this is going to fuck up the beginning of the... Well, the intro and outro are going to be real quiet.
You broke the streak.
Whoops. Hey, listen, I fixed it before we started.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, you were definitely looking down, and I was like, yeah, wow, he's either completely bored by this stat or...
No, I was getting, like, the 5th phone call from work, so I thought somebody was literally dying, or, like, there was, like, a hostage thing or something. Like, oh, fuck, like, are they bumping the CERT team out? Like, I gotta go get my body armor, I got shit to do, like...
Yeah.
Because I would have been like, hey, either get a different TAC medic, or you're gonna have to wait for, like, another hour and a half, because I'm trying to finish this podcast. Can the hostage taker hold it?
Jesus. I don't know how that's going to look at the end.